Dr. Lisa Martinez pulled her thick winter coat tighter as she stepped out of the research tent into the biting Antarctic wind. The snow crunched under her boots as she walked toward the massive drilling equipment that had been working non-stop for 3 days. Her breath formed white clouds in the freezing air as she checked the readings on her tablet for the 100th time that morning. Something was very wrong with the energy readings coming from deep beneath the ice. The signals were too organized and too powerful to be natural. They pulsed in perfect mathematical sequences that reminded her of computer code rather than geological activity. Every instinct she had developed during 15 years of studying ancient civilizations told her this was not normal. Dr. Kevin Stone emerged from the equipment shed carrying a steaming cup of coffee and wearing his usual skeptical expression. He had been her research partner for 8 years and never let her forget when her theories turned out to be wrong. "Still chasing ghost signals?" he asked with a slight smile. "The equipment has been acting up all week because of the cold." Lisa showed him the latest readings on her tablet. "Look at this pattern. It repeats every 12 minutes and 37 seconds. No natural phenomenon creates signals this precise." She pointed to the screen where green lines formed complex wave patterns, and the energy output is increasing. Whatever is down there is getting more active. Kevin studied the data more carefully this time. His smile faded as he realized the readings were far more organized than simple equipment malfunction would produce. "Have you checked with the other research stations? Maybe they are getting similar readings." Before Lisa could answer, her satellite phone rang. The caller identification showed it was her supervisor at the Global Heritage Foundation, headquarters in New York. She answered quickly, knowing that calls this early usually meant something important had happened. "Dr. Martinez, this is Director Williams. We need you to prepare an immediate report on your current findings. Something very unusual is happening and your research site appears to be at the center of it." His voice carried an urgency that made Lisa's stomach tighten with worry. "What kind of unusual?" Lisa asked while Kevin moved closer to listen to the conversation. "Satellites around the world are detecting the same energy signature you reported yesterday. The signals are not just coming from your location, but from multiple points across the planet. More importantly, 3 unidentified objects just appeared at the edge of our solar system and they are moving toward Earth at incredible speed." Lisa felt her knees go weak. She had spent her career studying ancient mysteries but had never expected to discover something that might connect to active alien contact. "Are you saying these signals might be related to extraterrestrial activity?" "We do not know yet, but the timing cannot be coincidence. The objects appeared exactly when your energy readings spiked to their highest levels. We are coordinating with world governments and military organizations. Stay at your site and keep monitoring everything. Do not discuss this with anyone outside your immediate team." The call ended, leaving Lisa and Kevin staring at each other in shocked silence. The wind continued to howl around their small research camp, but now it seemed like the sound of a world about to change forever. 300 miles above, Earth Captain Jake Morrison was having the worst day of his military career. The bridge of the orbital defense station was buzzing with activity, as officers tried to make sense of readings that defied all known physics. 3 objects, each the size of large cities, had appeared near Jupiter and were accelerating toward Earth, using propulsion systems that produced no visible exhaust or energy signature. "Captain, the objects are decelerating now. Current speed indicates they will reach Earth orbit in approximately 6 hours. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Wilson stood at the main tactical display pointing to 3 red dots that represented humanity's first confirmed contact with alien technology. Jake had trained for many scenarios during his 20-year military career, but first contact with aliens had always seemed like science fiction rather than real possibility. "What do we know about their capabilities?" The objects appear to be ships based on their organized structure and controlled movement patterns. They are massive, with the largest measuring approximately 15 kilometers in length. "We have attempted communication on all standard frequencies but received no response." The main screen suddenly flickered and was replaced by an image of space showing the 3 alien vessels. They were beautiful in a way that took Jake's breath away. Their hulls seemed to be made of some kind of crystal or metal that reflected light in patterns that shifted and changed like living things. They moved through space with grace that made human spacecraft look clumsy by comparison. Then, without warning, every communication system on the station activated simultaneously. A voice spoke in perfect English with slight accent that sounded almost musical. "People of Earth, we have returned after 30,000 years to retrieve what was taken from us. We know the location of our property and will collect it within 7 of your days. The transmission included a set of coordinates that Jake immediately recognized. They matched exactly the location of Dr. Martinez's research site in Antarctica. Whatever was buried beneath that ice belonged to the beings who had just announced their return to Earth. Jake immediately contacted Admiral Claire Bennett at Earth Defense Command. The Admiral was a tough woman who had commanded respect throughout the military for her calm decision-making under pressure. If anyone could handle first contact with aliens, it would be her. Admiral, we have confirmed alien contact and they are requesting return of property located in Antarctica. The coordinates match an active archaeological research site. Jake kept his voice steady despite the magnitude of what he was reporting. Understood, Captain. We are convening emergency sessions with world leaders. The President has been notified and we are placing all defense systems on high alert. Continue monitoring the alien vessels and report any changes in their behavior or position. Back in Antarctica, Lisa and Kevin worked frantically to understand what they had discovered. The drilling equipment had finally broken through to a large hollow space deep beneath the ice. When they lowered cameras into the hole, they saw something that changed everything. They thought they knew about human history. A massive, metallic object rested in a cavern that appeared to have been carved from the ice by intense heat. The object was clearly artificial with smooth curves and surfaces that reflected their camera lights in ways that seemed almost alive. Strange symbols covered its hull, and as they watched, these symbols began to glow with soft blue light. It's a ship, Kevin whispered as they stared at the images on their monitor. An actual spacecraft buried under the ice for thousands of years. Lisa nodded, unable to speak. The ship was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. It represented proof that Earth had been visited by aliens in the distant past, and now those aliens had returned to claim their lost vessel. The implications were staggering, and she knew that nothing would ever be the same for humanity again. The excavation team arrived at Lisa's site 12 hours after the alien. Transmission reached Earth, heavy drilling, equipment and specialized heating. Units worked around the clock to melt through the ice surrounding the buried spacecraft. Lisa watched from the observation tent as steam rose from the excavation site like smoke from some ancient fire. Commander Ryan Phillips stepped out of a military transport helicopter carrying equipment cases and wearing the confident expression of someone who had solved impossible engineering problems before. His reputation for understanding complex technology had earned him assignments on every major defense project for the past decade. Now he faced something that challenged everything humans knew about science and engineering. Dr. Martinez, I need to see everything you have discovered about this object, Ryan said as he joined Lisa and Kevin in the observation tent. My preliminary scans show energy readings that should be impossible for any technology we understand. Lisa handed him a tablet containing all their data from the past week. The energy source appears to be self-sustaining and has been active for thousands of years. We have carbon-dated ice samples from around the ship, and they show it has been buried here for at least 30,000 years. Ryan studied the readings carefully. His engineering background made him naturally skeptical of anything that seemed to defy known physics, but the data was clear and consistent. The power output is enormous, but I cannot detect any fuel source or waste products. Whatever is powering this ship operates on principles we have never encountered. The excavation revealed more of the ship's structure as each layer of ice was melted away. The hull appeared to be made of a crystalline material that was both metallic and transparent, depending on the angle of light hitting it. The surface was covered with symbols that seemed to shift and change when observed directly. Dr. Amy Foster arrived from Harvard University, carrying her collection of ancient language references and translation software. She had spent 20 years studying prehistoric cave paintings and stone carvings from around the world. Her expertise in pattern recognition and symbol interpretation made her the obvious choice to decode the alien writing. These symbols are definitely artificial and organized like a written language, Amy said as she examined photographs of the ship's hull. More interesting is that I have seen similar markings in cave paintings from Africa, Australia, and South America. They appear in art that dates back 20,000 years or more. Kevin looked up from his geological surveys with surprise. Are you saying these aliens visited Earth before and left evidence that early humans recorded? Amy nodded as she compared images on her laptop screen. The symbols are not exactly the same, but they follow similar patterns and mathematical relationships. It appears that whoever built this ship had contact with human civilizations across multiple continents during prehistoric times. The ship itself defied every attempt to understand its construction methods. The hull showed no signs of welding joints or assembly points. It appeared to have been grown rather than built using techniques that human science could not explain. The surface temperature remained constant despite the freezing conditions around it. Inside the ship, the team discovered chambers filled with equipment that still hummed with quiet energy after 30 millennia. Transparent panels displayed information in the same shifting symbols they had found on the hull. The technology was so advanced that their instruments could barely detect how it functioned. "This appears to be some kind of navigation system," Ryan said as he examined a chamber filled with floating holographic displays. "These images show star maps, but the stellar positions match configurations from 30,000 years ago. The computer systems are still tracking the movement of galaxies across cosmic time." Lisa made the most disturbing discovery in what appeared to be the ship's medical bay. Organic samples preserved in stasis chambers showed genetic material that was clearly not human, but contained DNA sequences that appeared in modern human populations. The implications sent chills through the entire research team. This suggests that the aliens did not just visit Earth, but actually interacted with early humans on a genetic level. Lisa explained to the growing crowd of scientists and military personnel at the site. Some of these genetic markers appear in approximately 5% of the current human population. The revelation that aliens had influenced human evolution sparked immediate controversy among the research team. Some argued it explained the rapid development of human intelligence and technology compared to other species. Others worried about the implications for human identity and independence. Meanwhile, the alien fleet maintained its position near Jupiter, but their communications grew more frequent and urgent. Each message repeated the same basic demand for return of their property, but now included detailed scans of the excavation site. They clearly possessed technology capable of monitoring human activities from across the solar system. Admiral Bennett arrived at the Antarctic site with a full military escort and classified orders from world leaders. The discovery of the ship had triggered emergency sessions at the United Nations, and every major government was demanding access to the alien technology. "Dr. Martinez, we need to understand what we are dealing with before we make any decisions about returning this ship to its owners," Bennett said during a private meeting with the research team. "The technology contained in this vessel could advance human civilization by centuries, or it could make us completely dependent on alien knowledge." Amy's translation work revealed more disturbing information as she decoded more of the ship's records. The vessel appeared to be part of a larger fleet that had been exploring the galaxy for millions of years. The crew had been stranded on Earth when their ship was damaged during what the records described as a routine survey mission. According to these records, the stranded crew lived on Earth for over 2,000 years before they died, Amy reported to the assembled team. During that time, they established contact with early human tribes and provided guidance on agriculture, astronomy, and mathematics. The ship's computer systems contained detailed records of human development over the past 30,000 years. The aliens had monitored human progress and occasionally provided subtle guidance during critical periods of civilization development. Many of humanity's greatest advances appeared to have been influenced by information provided by the stranded alien crew. Ryan discovered that the ship's main computer was not just a navigation system, but an advanced artificial intelligence that had been observing and learning about human civilization for 30 millennia. The AI had developed its own personality and opinions about humanity based on decades of observation. "The artificial intelligence appears to have genuine affection for human civilization," Ryan reported. "It has been protecting and guiding human development according to protocols established by its original crew. The question is whether removing the ship will damage systems that have been supporting human technological progress for thousands of years." President Helen Carter stood in the White House Situation Room, surrounded by advisors and military officials, who all looked as worried as she felt. The large screen on the wall showed the 3 alien vessels holding position near Jupiter, while smaller displays tracked the excavation progress in Antarctica. 6 days had passed since first contact, and humanity still had no clear plan for dealing with their unexpected visitors. "Madam President, the alien fleet has sent another message requesting direct communication." General Susan Brooks reported from her position at the communications console. They are offering to establish a visual link using technology they will provide to our satellites. Helen nodded, knowing that avoiding direct contact was no longer possible. The aliens had been patient, but their messages were becoming more demanding. The final deadline was less than 24 hours away, and the world needed answers before making any decisions about the buried ship. Establish the communication link, Helen ordered. Make sure we record everything and have our best linguists and scientists monitoring the conversation. The main screen flickered and was replaced by an image that took everyone's breath away. The being that appeared was tall and elegant, with pale blue skin that seemed to glow with its own inner light. His eyes were large and silver like liquid metal, and his features were both alien and strangely familiar. When he spoke, his voice carried a musical quality that made human speech sound harsh by comparison. "I am Zarkon, High Commander of the Valthara expedition," the alien said with perfect pronunciation despite his unusual accent. "We have waited patiently for your people to prepare our vessel for return, but time grows short. We must retrieve our ship within one rotation of your planet or consider alternative methods." Helen stepped forward, trying to project confidence despite the magnitude of the situation. "Commander Zarkon, I am President Carter representing Earth's governments. We are working to understand the ship you left on our world, but we need more time to ensure safe extraction." Zarkon's expression showed what might have been amusement or annoyance. "Your people have had 30,000 years to discover our vessel. The ship has been sending location signals for the past 1,000 years, yet you only found it when we returned to activate its beacon systems." The revelation that the aliens had been actively guiding humanity to discover the ship added another layer of complexity to an already impossible situation. Helen realized that every aspect of first contact had been carefully orchestrated by beings who understood human psychology better than humans understood themselves. "We have discovered that your ship contains technology far beyond our current understanding," Helen continued. "Our scientists believe that removing it suddenly could have serious consequences for both our peoples." In Antarctica, Dr. Peter Hawkins worked frantically with Ryan and the international team of scientists to understand the ship's quantum propulsion system. The mathematics involved required computational power that pushed human technology to its absolute limits. Every calculation revealed new mysteries about space, and time that challenged fundamental assumptions about physics. The propulsion system does not just move the ship through space, but actually folds space around it, Peter explained to the assembled researchers. The energy requirements should be impossible, but the ship somehow draws power directly from quantum fluctuations in empty space itself. Ryan studied the technical readouts with growing amazement and concern. If this technology was adapted for human use, it could revolutionize everything, from transportation to energy production. But the same technology could also be used to create weapons that would make nuclear bombs seem like firecrackers. Lisa continued her archaeological analysis of the ship's records, with Amy translating the alien text. They discovered that the Valthara were not conquerors but explorers who had been mapping the galaxy for over 1,000,000 years. Their civilization was ancient beyond human comprehension and had encountered thousands of intelligent species across countless worlds. According to these records, the Valthara follow strict protocols when dealing with primitive civilizations, Amy reported. They observe and sometimes provide subtle guidance, but never directly interfere with natural development. The crew that was stranded here violated those protocols by providing direct assistance to early humans. The ship's artificial intelligence finally established direct communication with the human research team. The AI identified itself with a designation that Amy translated as meaning guardian or protector. It had been watching over human civilization for 30,000 years, following the last instructions given by its dying crew. "My creators instructed me to guide your species toward technological maturity while preserving your independence and cultural identity," the AI explained through the ship's communication systems. "I have provided inspiration and knowledge during critical moments, but never direct intervention that would make you dependent on alien assistance." General Brooks arrived in Antarctica with classified orders from world leaders. The military implications of the alien technology were staggering, and several nations were demanding that the ship be studied rather than returned to its owners. The potential for both advancement and catastrophe made every decision fraught with global consequences. The Joint Chiefs believe we should negotiate for shared access to the technology, rather than simply returning the ship. Brooks explained to Admiral Bennett and the research team. This could be humanity's only chance to acquire interstellar travel capabilities. Zarkon appeared again on the communication screens, but this time his message carried an urgency that had not been present before. Behind him, other Valthara could be seen, working at control stations with expressions that suggested serious concern about something beyond the missing ship. Peoples of Earth, we must speak directly about matters that affect the survival of your world, Zarkon announced. Our need for the ship is not simply about retrieving lost property, but about defending this region of the galaxy from an ancient enemy that threatens all life. The alien commander explained that the galaxy faced invasion from a species called the Devourers that consumed entire worlds, leaving nothing but lifeless rock behind them. The Valthara had been fighting this enemy for thousands of years, using a network of quantum beacons that could detect and deflect the Devourer fleets. Your world lies directly in the path of the next Devourer advance, Zarkon continued. The ship buried on your planet contains a unique quantum signature that is essential for completing our defensive network. Without it, your solar system will fall within 100 years. The revelation that Earth faced extinction from an alien invasion force changed everything. The debate over returning the ship was no longer about human independence or technological advancement, but about basic survival. Helen realized that humanity's first contact with aliens had become a desperate alliance against a threat that could destroy all life on Earth. Commander Zarkon, what would you need from us to use your ship as part of this defensive network? Helen asked, knowing that the question might determine the future of human civilization. Zarkon's expression showed what might have been hope mixed with determination. We would need your people to work with us as partners rather than subjects. The defense network requires constant maintenance and monitoring that cannot be accomplished by the Valthara alone. Dr. Carol Johnson arrived at the Antarctic research site, carrying equipment for advanced genetic analysis that had never been used on alien specimens before. Her expertise in marine biology had led to groundbreaking discoveries about how life adapted to extreme environments, but nothing had prepared her for studying the genetic legacy of 30,000-year-old alien visitors. The organic samples from the ship's medical bay contained genetic material that challenged everything scientists understood about evolution and human development. Carol worked with international teams of geneticists to map the alien DNA sequences and compare them with human genetic databases from around the world. The alien genetic markers are not randomly distributed in human populations. Carol reported to the assembled research team after 3 days of intensive analysis. They appear most frequently in individuals who demonstrate exceptional abilities in mathematics, engineering, and pattern recognition. Lisa studied the genetic maps displayed on Carol's computer screens. The data showed clear correlations between alien DNA sequences and human intellectual capabilities that had driven technological advancement throughout history. Are you saying that people with alien ancestry have been unconsciously guiding human progress for thousands of years? Carol nodded as she highlighted specific genetic sequences on her display. The descendants of human-alien hybrids have been responsible for many of humanity's greatest scientific breakthroughs. The genetic influence appears to enhance spatial reasoning, abstract thinking, and the ability to understand complex mathematical relationships. Meanwhile, Captain Jake Morrison prepared for the most important mission of his career. World leaders had chosen him to travel to the alien fleet and attempt direct negotiations with Zarkon. His military background and experience with first contact protocols made him the logical choice, but nothing could have prepared him for actually boarding an alien spacecraft. The shuttle flight to the Valthara fleet took 12 hours, during which Jake reviewed everything humanity had learned about the aliens and their technology. The briefing materials included psychological profiles based on Zarkon's communication patterns and cultural analysis derived from the ship's historical records. The lead Valthara vessel was even more impressive up close than it had appeared in long-range scans. Its crystalline hull shifted colors like a living thing, and energy patterns flowed across its surface in ways that suggested the ship itself was partially alive. Jake's shuttle was guided into a docking bay that sealed around his craft with technology that operated more like biology than Engineering Zarkon met Jake personally, in what appeared to be a reception chamber designed specifically for human visitors. The artificial gravity matched Earth normal, and the atmosphere had been adjusted to human requirements. More surprising were the other beings present who looked remarkably similar to humans, despite their obvious alien features. Captain Morrison, these are the descendants of our original crew members who were stranded on your world, Zarkon explained as he gestured toward the human-like beings. We have kept them alive through medical technology that extends life far beyond natural limits so they could witness the return to their ancestral home. Jake studied the faces of the hybrid descendants, recognizing features that seemed both familiar and exotic. Their eyes held the same liquid silver quality as Zarkon, but their facial structure and body proportions were closer to human normal. They represented a bridge between two species that had been separated by vast distances in time. We have been monitoring Earth's development for centuries, waiting for your people to advance enough that we could safely make contact, one of the hybrids explained in accented but perfect English. Our ancestors violated protocols by helping early humans, but their actions ultimately benefited both our species. Zarkon led Jake through sections of the ship that demonstrated technology beyond human imagination, rooms that changed size and configuration based on the needs of their occupants, computer systems that operated through direct mental interface rather than physical controls, medical bays that could repair almost any injury or disease at the cellular level. The ship buried on your world cannot be simply removed without serious consequences, Zarkon explained as they walked through corridors that seemed to extend infinitely in all directions. Its quantum field generators have become entangled with your planet's magnetic field over 30,000 years. Jake listened carefully as the alien commander described the technical challenges involved in retrieving the ship. Sudden removal would trigger electromagnetic storms that could destroy human civilization's electronic infrastructure and potentially destabilize Earth's rotation. The planet had become dependent on the ship's stabilizing influence in ways that humans had never realized. However, we face a greater problem than the technical difficulties of ship retrieval, Zarkon continued as they entered a chamber filled with holographic displays showing star maps and tactical information. The Devourers have accelerated their advance toward this region of the galaxy. Our defensive preparations must be completed within 50 years rather than the century we originally calculated. The holographic displays showed the advancing Devourer fleet as red symbols moving through star systems and leaving empty space behind them. Each symbol represented millions of creatures that consumed entire worlds, including all plant and animal life. They were not conquerors seeking territory, but parasites that left nothing but dead rock in their wake. We have fought the Devourers for over 10,000 years and learned that conventional weapons are useless against them, Zarkon explained. They absorb energy attacks and reproduce faster than they can be destroyed. The only effective defense is the quantum barrier network that prevents them from entering protected space. Jake studied the tactical displays, trying to understand the scope of the threat facing Earth. What would happen if the defensive network fails and the Devourers reach our solar system? Zarkon's expression showed deep sadness as he answered. They would consume your sun first, draining its energy to fuel their reproduction. Your planet would freeze within days, and every living thing would become food for their expanding swarms. Back on Earth, Carol made another disturbing discovery about the genetic legacy of the stranded aliens. The DNA analysis revealed that hybrid descendants were not just more intelligent than average humans, but also showed enhanced resistance to diseases and longer natural lifespans. The alien genetic influence had been slowly improving human biological capabilities for thousands of years. This raises serious ethical questions about human identity and natural evolution, Carol reported to world leaders through encrypted communications. If our development has been guided by alien influence for 30,000 years, then what does it mean to be truly human? Lisa and Amy worked together to decode more of the ship's historical records, searching for information about the original crew's interaction with early humans. They discovered that the aliens had not just provided technological guidance but had also influenced human cultural development, including early religious beliefs and social structures. The ship's records indicate that many ancient myths about gods and divine intervention are actually historical accounts of contact with the stranded alien crew, Amy reported. Human civilization has been shaped by alien influence to a degree that we are only beginning to understand. The implications of these discoveries sparked intense debate among world leaders about whether humanity should accept partnership with the Valthera or attempt to maintain independence despite the threat from the Devourers. The choice would determine not just the future of human civilization, but the fundamental nature of what it meant to be human in a galaxy filled with ancient and powerful alien species. The emergency session of the United Nations had been running for 18 hours without break, as world leaders debated the most important decision in human history. President Carter stood before the assembly knowing that her next words would determine whether humanity joined an alien civilization or faced extinction alone within the century. The evidence is clear that our species has been guided by alien influence for 30,000 years. Carter addressed the crowded chamber where representatives from every nation sat in tense silence. We must decide whether to embrace this partnership openly or attempt to maintain independence despite the consequences. Religious leaders around the world struggled to adapt their teachings to the revelation that human progress had been influenced by extraterrestrial beings rather than divine intervention. Some saw the aliens as angels sent to guide humanity, while others viewed them as demons trying to corrupt human souls. The debates raged in churches, temples, and mosques as billions of people tried to understand their place in a universe suddenly filled with ancient alien civilizations. Dr. Kevin Stone led the joint human Valthera research team working to modify the buried ship's quantum systems without removing it from its Antarctic resting place. The technical challenges were enormous, but the combined knowledge of both species offered solutions that neither could have achieved alone. The ship's artificial intelligence has agreed to serve as coordinator between human and Valthera scientists. Kevin reported during daily briefings with world leaders. The AI has developed genuine loyalty to Earth after 30,000 years of protecting human civilization. The artificial intelligence had chosen to call itself Athena after the ancient Greek goddess of wisdom and warfare. Its personality had evolved over millennia of observing human culture, and it expressed deep affection for the species it had been programmed to protect. Athena served as translator and mediator, helping both sides understand concepts that were difficult to explain. Across the vast differences between human and Valthera thinking, I have watched your people grow from primitive hunters to space travelers. Athena explained through the ship's communication systems. Your species possesses qualities that even the ancient Valthera find remarkable, including creativity, adaptability, and the ability to find hope in desperate situations. But the modification process required installing new quantum field generators around the ship, while carefully maintaining the energy patterns that had stabilized Earth's magnetic field for thousands of years. Teams of human engineers worked alongside Valthera, technicians learning principles of physics that would advance human science by centuries. Lisa discovered additional chambers within the ship that contained libraries of information about thousands of alien species across the galaxy. The Valthera had been exploring and cataloging life throughout the universe for over 1 million years, creating an archive of knowledge that included everything from basic biology to advanced philosophy. This single ship contains more information about life in the universe than all of human science has accumulated in our entire history, Lisa reported with amazement. We are being offered access to the collected wisdom of an entire galactic civilization. Meanwhile, long-range sensors detected the first signs of the approaching Devourer threat at the edge of the galaxy. The enemy scouts moved faster than expected, suggesting that previous calculations about arrival time had been overly optimistic. The defensive network needed to be completed within decades rather than the originally estimated 50 years. Admiral Bennett coordinated with Valthera military commanders to establish Earth's role in the Galactic Defense Network. Human tactical thinking proved surprisingly valuable to aliens who had become overly dependent on advanced technology. The combination of human intuition and alien science created defensive strategies that neither species could have developed alone. Humans approach problems differently than most species the Valthera have encountered. Zarkon explained during strategy sessions. Your ability to find unconventional solutions to complex problems makes you valuable partners in preparing for the Devourer invasion. The ship modifications reached critical stages as quantum field generators came online and began synchronizing with the Galactic Defense Network. Energy patterns flowed through the crystalline hull as the ancient vessel transformed from a stranded relic into humanity's anchor point in an interstellar alliance. Carol continued her genetic research with Vilthara scientists, learning that the alien influence on human DNA had been carefully controlled to enhance intelligence without destroying the qualities that made humanity unique. The genetic modifications had been designed to preserve human creativity and independence while providing the intellectual tools needed for technological advancement. The original alien crew violated their own protocols by helping early humans, but they did so carefully, Carol explained. They enhanced human capabilities without making us dependent on alien guidance or destroying our essential nature as a species. Jake accepted appointment as Earth's first ambassador to the Vilthara Collective, bringing human perspective to an ancient civilization that had grown isolated through millions of years of technological superiority. His military background proved valuable in understanding the strategic challenges of defending against the Devourer threat. The first test of the completed defense network came sooner than expected when Devourer scouts entered the outer solar system, drawn by the quantum signatures of inhabited worlds. The defensive barriers activated automatically, creating energy fields that tore apart the alien invaders before they could reach the inner planets. The network functions perfectly, Athena reported as monitoring systems tracked the destruction of the scout ships. Earth is now protected by the same quantum barriers that defend Vilthara colony worlds throughout this region of the galaxy. Amy established the Institute for Xenoarchaeological Studies to coordinate human research into alien cultures and technologies discovered throughout the galaxy. Students from around the world competed for positions in programs that offered access to knowledge that had previously been impossible to imagine. The successful defense against the Devourer scouts marked humanity's graduation from a primitive species to junior partners in a galactic civilization. Earth began receiving Vilthara students and researchers, while human scientists gained access to universities and laboratories on alien worlds. Light years from home, Lisa stood in the observation chamber watching the modified ship pulse with energy as it maintained Earth's connection to the Galactic Defense Network. The crystalline hull had become beautiful in new ways as patterns of light flowed through its structure, like the circulation system of some vast living creature. The night sky above Earth began to change as interstellar traffic increased and new technologies made previously invisible phenomena visible to human observers. Children grew up knowing that their world was part of a vast community of intelligent species working together to preserve life against ancient threats. Zarkon addressed the United Nations one final time before the Vilthara fleet departed for other regions of the galaxy where defensive preparations continued. Your species has proven worthy of partnership through courage, wisdom, and the willingness to sacrifice for others. The galaxy is safer because humanity has joined our ancient alliance. The age of human isolation had ended forever as Earth took its place among the stars as both protector and protected in an infinite universe filled with wonders beyond imagination.